Rev up your engines!
Well, check it out. I got an actual letter from the police department of Nashville. And it was from Doc Holliday. He's coming to get me. But I'm in Rhode Island now, so I'm safe. He sent me a letter to show how stupid people have become with cars. An armed robber and his accomplices late Friday had been booked in jail. A delivery driver was headed back to 5th Street when a man at gunpoint demanded the keys in his wallet. The victim complied and walked away. The robber, identified as Emmanuel West, 24, discovered that the car he'd just gotten the keys to was equipped with a manual transmission which he didn't know how to operate. So he walked away, then robbed a woman on Shelby Avenue, broadcasted the description, they arrested him and put him in jail. Yes, many people can't drive standard transmissions anymore. The guy who was driving the vehicle, he got arrested too, because it turns out he was scamming with the other guy saying, you will pretend you rob us, we'll split the money, right? Well, he didn't even know that his stupid friend couldn't drive a standard transmission. It shows a lot of people don't know how to drive standard transmissions. So when I first got it, I thought, hey, no, the cops in Nashville are coming after me. Nissan Rob 88 says, liquid molybdenum bisulfate anti-friction treatment actually works. I've had it in my 03 Mercedes. I've been using it for years. Now, I admit, products like this are only for engines that are in good condition to make them last longer. What do you think about this? It's funny it's in a Mercedes, because in World War II, the Germans used it in their fighter planes, so if they got hit by bullets, the lubrication would still work better and they might be able to make it back to base, right? And when somebody's shooting at you with 4 or 6 50 caliber machine guns, you got to get out of the way and then rev it up so it could last a little bit longer. Now, molybdenum bisulfate is an excellent lubricant. It really is. People have used it for years in all kinds of stuff. It does actually work, but like you say, it's not going to rebuild a broken engine. You got a good engine, take care of it. And the problem is, it's very dark. They tried to sell it in regular oil mixed in, and it failed in the United States because it made the oil black. You poured the new oil out of the can and the stuff was black, and people checked the oil's black. They didn't like the idea of black oil. You could only go by oil change, not by what it looks. You change every 5, you change every 5. You can't look at the color because it's instantly black, just like a diesel. You change the oil in a diesel engine. Hey, a week later, look at it, it's black because the diesel makes it black. That's just the way it goes. It stains stuff. Molybdenum bisulfate does work. There's no arguing. The Germans used it ages ago. It is a very good lubricant. Just like Teflon is also a very good lubricant. If it's made right, yes, stuff like that can work. Keeps an old engine that runs good running good. It's not going to fix a worn out engine. A lot of times when they sell this, oh, make your engine, rebuild it as you drive, you know. BS companies like that have been doing that for years. Right, pour it in your engine, rebuild your engine while driving. Nonsense. If you had something that was actually rebuilding your engine and coating things, it would coat the wrong things too and the engine would blow up. But no, it does work. I agree entirely. And Laga says, I got an 05 Escalade. It stops when it wants to. I'll be driving on a highway at 60. The brakes activate, slow the car down. They get worse. They do until I turn it off for 10 or 15 minutes, and then it goes again. I pulled the ABS fuse to see if it was an ABS problem, but it still persists. What could it be? They're obviously overheating. Your brakes are sticking on somehow. You could have a master cylinder that's not releasing pressure. You could have a bad booster. You could have stuck calipers, or you could have bad brake lines. Now, we'll talk about the brake lines. That's a 05. So it's what, 17 years old. The rubber brake hoses that go to the wheels, short distance, if they get really old, they collapse inside. When you slam on the brakes, they'll send pressure to the wheel. But when you pick your foot up, since they're kind of restricted and collapsed, they won't suck the pressure out correctly, and it will stick the calipers on. Now, if that's the case, drive your car, and when it sticks, quick jack it up. If all 4 wheels are sticking on, then it's probably something else, because they're not all going to wear out the same. If it's a hose, you'll see like the left front one sticks, but the right rear was, and then you can change the left front hose and see if it fixed the problem. A good way of checking that is, all you got to do is take the hose off. If it's sticking on, say, the left front wheel, take the hose off. If it's still sticking, it's not the hose. It's the caliper sticking, you'll have to replace it. That's how you test the stuff. So now you know it's one of those. When it's sticking, you want to quick stop it, jack it up, see which wheels are freezing up first, then analyze it from there. Maybe it's just one wheel. We don't know. But if it's all 4 wheels, then it's either the master cylinder or the booster, because you unplugged the ABS system, so it's not activated anymore. Emily99 says, why won't my car start after I got it from the mechanic? Somebody hit my 04 Subaru Forester on the back, and they totaled it, but I bought it back because the shop said they can fix it cheap enough with a strut and a trailing arm. So now it won't start. It cranks like it's going to start, but it won't. I drove it home after the accident. What could it be? All right, well, there's a lot of reasons a car won't start. You were in an accident, that kind of makes it a lot more complicated because it could have damaged the wiring, could have done all kinds of things. What you want to do, and you said you drove it home, if it was something like it hit the car and then it made the inertial switch shut the fuel pump off, it wouldn't start at all. You drove it home, so it's not that. Watch my video, fixing a car that cranks but doesn't start up. Scotty, watch that on YouTube. You give you all the tips, all the things you can check. Maybe the fuel pump went out. Maybe the battery's just too weak. As cars age, modern cars need all kinds of power to run the computer system. Back in the day, if you had a bad battery, the engine won't spin over. You know, it's a bad battery. Jump it, it starts, replace the battery. Today, cars use a lot more power, so it is possible to have a weak battery that you turn the key and it will crank the engine, run, 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 but it won't start because it doesn't have enough energy to energize the ignition system and the fuel system. So it could be as simple as your battery's just drained. Try jump starting it first. Try it something that simple. Crazy Canuck 75 says, I'm in the clouds of dust. I got a Highlander and I drive it about 200 kilometers a day. It's rural. 60% gravel. Now it's melted and drying up. What can I do about the dust? I replaced the cabin air filter, door seals, seals for the rear window hatch. Is there anything else I should do to protect the rest of the car, electronics from the dust? I do have K&M air filters and clean them weekly. Yeah, well, the air filters are a good thing because dust will destroy your engine and you want to clean it regularly, and the K&N filters are oiled filters, so they collect dust even better. That's a very smart move. Dust is dust. You're just going to have to live with it. You live out in a rural area and you got dust coming up. Numero uno would be don't follow people. If you're out in the middle of nowhere in a gravel road and there's dust, if you see somebody driving, wait 4 or 5 minutes. Don't follow them because all that dust that's being thrown out is getting sucked into your engine. Generally, while you're driving your car, the dust is behind you, not in front of you. So try to be the leader of the pack and not the follower. Like they say, the view of the lead dog is the only good one because all the other dogs behind him all have the same view of you know what, right? Well, you don't want the dust coming in, so try to always be the front. And if you see somebody driving, wait a few minutes before you go out in your little country road because you're going to suck all the dust up from them. That's the main thing you can do. Dust is dust. You can't escape it. And if it's all dusty, gravelly roads, maybe wait for a rainstorm before you go someplace. If Artist says, I found a 2010 Toyota Solara convertible, 170,000 miles, priced at $79.50. It looks to be in good shape. The listing shows one owner, and they have the service record. Should I go to it, or is the mileage too high? What's a Toyota? The mileage isn't too high. I mean, things are going to be worn, right? But the price, to me, $8,000 for a 12-year-old car with 170,000 miles. To me, that's too much money, but that's the way it goes these days. Get proof that there was really only one owner. The title will only have one name on it, right? And if that's the case, have a guy like me check it out with his computer because there can be all kinds of things, especially on those. You want to check the automatic transmission and see if the power steering's leaking. They often leaked on those things. And a lot of the 2010s, the cams might leak oil. Make sure the cams aren't leaking oil and the engine isn't leaking oil. And then if you're happy enough to pay that money and a mechanic says it's good, buy it. But get it checked out. That many miles, you have no idea what kind of shape that thing is. They're well made. They just don't make them anymore because it was priced wrong. They're basically Toyota Camrys, convertibles. They just were in a weird price range, and so they stopped making them. They already had Camrys. They had Avalons. Now, why did they stick Solara into the mix? They decided they made a mistake and they stopped making them. But they're still good cars. I had one the other day over here that was convertible. It was a marvelous car. Oh, Elon bought Twitter, right? Well, when he bought it, Tesla stock went down $125 billion in value. I'm not making this up. It's because he decided to buy Twitter. They thought, oh, now he's going to concentrate most of his energy on Twitter, and he's not going to care about Tesla. Hey, the guy obviously doesn't care about Tesla anyway, just raises prices. It's these capitalist mentality people are trying to understand Elon Musk, who is a completely different character. Obviously, he lives in another dimension. Trying to evaluate what this guy's doing, it'd be like trying to figure out which way the cockroaches are going to run when you turn the lights on, you know? He's unpredictable. Him buying Twitter, it went down 125 billion. Of course, it's all on paper. It goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. It's like a massive gambling pit. They're down 125 billion the other day. We'll see what happens in the future just because he bought Twitter. You know? None of it makes any sense anymore. It's a veritable madhouse in any financial investing situation today. It just is, but I find it hilarious that it went down 125 billion just because he bought Twitter. I mean, well, maybe he'll tweet good things, take all the bad tweets about Tesla and put good ones and make it go up. I would think it would do the opposite. It wouldn't make it go down. But who knows with this massive gambling pit what these people have in their minds. They just want to make money doing nothing. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.